over to Agent Select, presented by our friends over at Prime Gaming. And there it is, yes indeed, parry on the Astra. That's a recent adjustment out of them.
It really is. They have a lot of different things they'll flex to, but they feel like with what we see, their Astra on a hold, Suggest will play Cat. He'll focus a bit of that defense. And this is where I get the note that Parry and Suggest just have this like absurd life expectancy because they're always grabbing info, they're doing things. You're going to see Solo kind of creeping around, doing his own thing out of B on defense. And I'm excited to see what Sharks bring here, because if you are an aggressive team, Ascent is a great map to be aggressive on.
Yes, indeed. We see Sharks starting off on attack. And then, of course, it's actually NUTURN, who are taking some real estate early on, and they've done so absolutely quietly. There's the flash out of, yep, there it is, and the kill's gonna land as well as Light drops. Allows taking so much space away. Frost is sitting duck. He's gonna drop as well, along with Denaru. It's a bloodbath over by Tiles, as so much pressure is exerted from NUTURN. I mean, that was gorgeous. A flawless round by Prime Gaming to start things off, and what more could you possibly ask for if you're a fan of Korean?
Wow, that was intense. That was fast. It was so fast, two of the teammates don't even have assists on them. And Lakia and Solo, I believe, over there. So what a round coming out firing. Expect Sharks to be a little timid here on their heels the next few rounds. Yes. And we'll see what comes of this. But NUTURN, literally out of the gate, off the rip, just want headshots, and that's what we saw out of him. Spectre buy from Solo there, as he's probably going to do a little bit of solo work himself, no pun intended, but you'll see him and Lakia work the site here, picking up 2-3 cases. They just do not let that site go down.
You see the shock dart off the cue of the sound from picking up the orb, pushes him off, and now they can take some of that space back. That ult orb should still be up for grabs. So some early exchange of utility, you see the priority that both teams are willing to put around both the gathering and the denying of that ultimate orb. So far, Sharks leaning that way. Solo's in a great spot. That ult orb will eventually go in the pocket.
Frozen.
No shock darts anymore. And here we go. Solo, trigger discipline, good for one. Looking for more, and if it wasn't the Spectre, it was the freaking Nano Swarm. As he gets 3, gets for a second. Back-to-back, flawless round brought to you by Prime Gaming. NUTURN, I mean, they're scary right now, Riv.
They are, and this is why those rounds are impactful. Honestly, Sharks can come back. There's a bunch of games to go, but you're going to have to remember how much economy for NUTURN was spent on these rounds. Not much. A lot of util stayed in the hands. Full armor there. So the upgrades are going to come in off of what we just saw was only solos buy. So that was a huge bonus for them. The econ is riding high. And now Sharks is going to have to chip away at a little bit more. Still the same game, just a little bit more to chip away at here, as that was such an econ round for NUTURN. Ew, allow sits on that. He wanted the shot. He chose to do that, but nobody peeked it. So great job by Sharks to start off with a bit in their favor.
Yeah, great read from Fra. But what do you have to stop Allow here? Ah, the curveball and the Roomba, no! Allow hit it anyway! Oof. A little stop, a little go. Frozen cleans up the utility. The spike is not in the hands of anyone as Sharks look to exploit the middle of the map. They've gotten this far, no alarm bot or any other utility kind of keeping them at bay from Solo. And I mean, it's going to take a little bit. As you see, Denaru is still working his way around, but they're going to dial up a hit onto B here. They've got Lakia in the back of the site. They also have Solo sitting here.
Look at how they're encroaching as well into spawn. They've worked the mid, Doug. Yep. What I wanted to see. Quick TP back out. Frosting coming in with the Odin on the backside of the site, and they have to take it now. It's all about getting the Sova out of Boathouse. Lakia and Solo hold it down. Like I said, it's going to be real tough to take the site from those two.
And Riv, like, there you feel the gun advantage that they had, right? Like, the way they handled their money in the second round allows them to bring that level of firepower into that fight. And you even saw, I know you mentioned this a couple times, that shot was just, that was just disgusting. but you mentioned this a couple times. You and I saw it. It's right here. So Killjoy has this dope setup where the turret is sitting on the back corner, and she can play off of that trigger of the turret. So she swings around that. She lines them up and knocks them down. NUTURN are clicking on all cylinders here. Financially, they're in great shape. Salau still has an op, and it looks like he's going to get a chance at something. No fancy shot through the flash this time around, but enough to make him think about it.
I love this coming from Sharks. All out, rolling through. Prozine goes down. Leitch is going to find himself falling, as well as Solo. Finding shots left and right. He says, me first. Allow says, not just yet another Flawless, brought to you by Prime Gaming. What a game so far for them. Sharks does seem to be testing the waters in their save rounds. Didn't even mean it, but they're pushing through, right? They're just saying, all right, if we can take it, we're going to take it. And whereas last map, or even the map before, we saw these being very methodical rounds. And I said Ascent is fast because you're right up in people's faces when you're able to engage. Doesn't mean you have to play fast. So I think we're going to see a slowdown here, maybe a 30-second plant round coming back in as things start to change and a little bit more orb focus.
Prime Gaming getting plenty of love this map. And Riv, when was the last time we got 5 rounds, or we hit the 5th round of a map, and a team only has 1 kill? 1, right? There's just been 1 kill out of Sharks this entire time. That's insane.
That is absurd to think about, because one, you're not finding every ult point you want, as we see the run it back come through, Doug, and they're looking like they want A.
Yeah, and they've left it, right? Like, A's free, it's open, they're comfortable playing for the retake here. I was curious to see if Sharks were going to work their way in through tree to control the back of that site, but no, they haven't managed to get their way in, and you can see Solo's kind of like waiting for it. They expect that to be what they want to exploit. Leitch gets the spike down as Denaru drops a bit of utility to try to push them back. Allow has taken some damage, but that's it so far. This is going to be a spicy retake. The flash comes through. Suggest already takes care of one. Gapshees is going to drop as well. There's a lockdown as it creates some space, and they have to respect it, right? They don't really have anything to get in there and deny that, so they give that space up. Now NUTURN find their way onto the site. Frost in a great spot. There are 2 still playing back and long. They both drop. Frost left alone. Frost good for 1, and Frost drops. Not able to pull out any of the heroics as NUTURN marches on.
Just util stuffed right now is Sharks try to get in. Everything they throw is either utility, is info denied, or it comes up with a ping they don't want to actually fight against. You know, they're like, oh, well, that means that's Killjoy and a Sky and something else that's just going to crush us down in combo of utility.
Yeah.
So we got a tactical timeout coming out for Sharks now. Things are getting a little out of hand here as Sharks, NUTURN has seemed to shake off all the cobwebs and have found their groove that is now extending from map 2 into map 3.
They can just do no wrong, Riv. Like, that's now another rifle. Yeah, it just seems that way, right? That's another rifle round that Sharks have been able to dial things up. They even had the run it back where they were trying to exploit tree, and they got some space. They got the spike down, but then there was no counter for the retake. Right? There was nothing that they could do to stop them from fighting back for that site. And even with Fra on the great flank, right, knowing that his 2 teammates were back in wine, they were in long, they were just kind of stuck back there. Fra was on the great flank to kind of blow that up, knowing that's where the attention was going to be. But even in that, they just get mowed down in wine before Fra even gets a chance to show up. So then he shows up and everyone's looking at him. There's no way for him to have an impact on the play. It's been beautiful out of NUTURN. Achilles must be grinning from ear to ear right now.
I mean, they're looking good. They got to be feeling good. You got a Blade Storm here versus Fra's ult. This is actually a really big round coming in for Sharks. There's not a lot of utility. There's no raise on the other side. It's a Sova Hunter's Fury that's going to be taking down your ult that is going to get that lockdown out of there. So they have a chance to get it up, and this is a round to start turning around at least a bit of the econ game, because look at the bankroll on the side of NUTURN. A few rounds tarnished, and they're still okay to buy. This is tough. Spectres as well coming in on 3 members. 4. 5? 5. So I can't tell if it's a Phantom at this point. Yeah, Spectres, there they are. And we're going to see what they can do with these ones coming in here.
My goodness, the aggression, Riv. You often see a one-way drop there with the gravity well, but they just gravity well and they push their way in. Suggest is able to get one. Yeah, the kill gets traded out, but you're seeing the pace at which NUTURN want to play, and they're not letting up.
And the focus for the Phantom is Gabshis. He takes it, That's where it could provide the most return on investment of taking one down for one. And let's see how they work this now. I expect the round to go a little bit later. That's going to be good that they see Killjoy. Knowing lockdown is there may be more priority around it, and the info that suggests can grab there, but they have to consider everything. And Lakia hasn't moved. He is ready to rip anybody that comes into B, so you can see how comfortable NUTURN feels even having somebody down here against 4v4.
Now, Lakia is going to get a chance at something because he's reading it, but it's all about how much they bite into this because the spike is still on A, right? That's still where they, well...
That's a call out.
That's still where they wanted to go. They're certainly going to reconsider things. Yeah, that spike's going to drop as well. They know everything that's going on right now. Denaru's going to show up along with Leitch. They don't have the spike. They don't have health. At least Denaru doesn't. Leitch has a chance at something special here in a 1v3. Nothing but a Spectre. Nothing. 6-0 for NUTURN.
There was quite a bit of util there for Sharks to get on the entry if Leitch wanted to throw in a smoke or a paranoia. A lot of dry peaks coming in there. 4 kills to Sharks right now as NUTURN has found their groove coming now into the second map, or third map, I should say, second and third. And here we saw it, you know, coming out of the pause, we got to go aggressive, we got to do something. They were able to pick up the Phantom, and that was the Phantom going down. So they did smoke over towards Cat. There just wasn't one that we saw go up towards Heaven here. So it was just a choice in their play. And again, NUTURN seemed to be around the play instead of all in it, like Sharks wanted.
All right, slightly different look here, right? They're heavy stacking towards B. We haven't seen this really since, what, round 2?
Yeah.
So this is an interesting adaptation from Sharks. My God. He has already gotten 2. He might get a 3rd. He heard him. Yeah, the orb was there. It's just unreal right now, Riv.
This is just a no situation. Like, you want to be able to gain ground. And Lockie has been doing this from time to time, sorts it out when he needs to, and does it this round to come up with 2. Right? It kind of feels like he said NUTURN can do no wrong at this point as they just try things out. They're kitting, they're connecting. Froz down to 4 HP. They had that with Gabshish, that's 34. And Light is full fight right now. They're waiting to get Frosten out of this situation. If he could waltz out, he'll be all right. But what do they do from here? A frag would be great. Dropping allows op would be huge, but those are really just chips off the block right now. It's a wall they're facing.
30 seconds left.
I think the one benefit to them is that NUTURN haven't taken space, right? Like, they haven't taken any real estate away from Sharks, so there's a little bit of room for them to breathe, right? There's no process of elimination, right? If they've taken long here, if they've taken A lobby, if they've taken the middle of the map, you know that the rotation's coming back. But it looks like they're just going to try to save this out and save some of the rifles. And folks, let that be a sign to you of how dire of straits Sharks find themselves in. That this is where they are at this point. That they're trying to save 3 rifles, down 0-7. They just can't get anything going.
Great kill there.
Was that kill number 5? Yeah, 5. NUTURN have won more rounds than Sharks have kills.
They're not getting the flows, and that's on your Phoenix, right? At a point, you can look at the scoreboard as we watch this again and say, okay, that needs to be run at backs. That needs to be a bit more aggression. The confidence opening shot that you would get from a Phoenix, from a Jet, from a Raze being the first one in, and it doesn't seem like you're getting that. It's a little shaky for Prozine, and he's one that does have that confidence. Like we were saying, Prozine and Light were both Crossfire world champions. They've been in this situation. They know how to recoup, and we're going to have to see if they can do that to make this a 7-5 or an 8-4, because things are getting a little dire here for the way it's going with NUTURN versus Sharks.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right, Riv. For as brutal as things have been for Sharks, I think an 8-4, you take that, right? Like, that's very much okay. But Seekers coming out from Suggest, you can tell they want to go there. There's the lockdown. Hunter Suri, presumably to clear things out from Lakia. Yep, there goes the lockdown. And they're going to use a showstopper as well. Perry's in a great spot. Perry doesn't get spotted. My gosh, he's going to mow them down. He's already gotten 2. They never knew he was there. And if it wasn't Perry, it was Suggest. NUTURN refused to give up an inch. They don't allow anything in through that door. Another flawless round, courtesy of our friends over at Prime Gaming. An 8-0 statement from NUTURN.
the planning behind that to then have it thwarted so quickly. The showstopper didn't come through. Sova's ult was up as the Hunter's Fury was achieved quite quickly. Remember, he didn't have that, but he did get 2 frags through the wall just last round to help get him ult points for it. So now he has the Hunter's Fury after a few more frags, pulls up a big impact ult that round, and you can see it's off of frags. Look at the amount of kill rounds there is to defusals or spikes. Or just timeouts rather. It's very, very wild for NUTURN here. Their aim is on, and we talked about how high their headshot percentage is, with Suggest, Allow, and Lakia being some of the highest in Korea.
Oh, and the thing is, if your Sharks starts like that, certainly don't help things at all, right? Like, there's so much pressure, there's no room to breathe, it feels so suffocating right now that right off the bat, you've got Allow doing stuff like that, right? And it's not just at the beginning of the map when you're trying to feel things out. When you try to take a little bit of control, you get a second. Allow almost gets a third there onto Fra, but Fra manages to stay alive. They don't have the spike. They don't seem to have any intentions of playing around that at all, as Allow has gotten to 3. I mean, that op is singing right now.
Oh, a 4. Oh, he wants the Frenzy last. He actually goes for the Blade Storm. Right-click miss. Frenzy out. Double to the head as he dink downs him. Perry grabs that one actually from behind with the Phantom over the shoulder of Allow. And they continue to take each other's aces, by the way. From Haven over here to Ascent. Another Prime Gaming flawless for us. And we'll see how this one went down to start.
I need a production. I need to know how many flawless rounds we're at. I want to say it's like 5 or 6.
5 or 6
at this point. Yeah, it's just been disgusting.
4,
8? 8?
Wait,
8?
No, they didn't answer you that quick, did they? Holy shnikes.
Oh, 8 in total in the series. Either way, right? Like.
Oh, okay.
NUTURN have been on another level.
They
5
have
this game. 5. Thank you.
And Sharks way back in is slowly there each round. And it seems like NUTURN has already thought about it, right?
Yep.
You have these Sova ult now for Denaru. Can make it. Leitch can really start to distract if he goes Boathouse. If they have a little bit of util grab before they execute. Here again, playing with mid ever so slightly just to see what kind of utility can be pulled out. And they'd have to go versus the intel over at B or the backup retake kind of aggressiveness over at A. And like we said, you'll always get Suggest alive. He's in the back, ready to throw out Guiding Lights or the Trailblazer. Nice set of strat here. That's the Dart going over as well, so they can spot, Allow. I love the combo. This is what we need to see from Sharks.
Yeah, it was an excellent setup with the Paranoia and the Dart as well, and the Hunter's Fury on top from Denaru. Perry's gonna get mowed down as Fraff blasts across the screen, gets dropped. But the Shock Dart's delaying things. The spike now, it's gonna go down. What can Lakia do? Can they keep this perfect game alive? A 2v4, no, she drops. It's just solo. In a 1v4 with a Phantom. But a difficult spot. Now position's been given away as well. And Riv, there were doubts, right? Like there were doubts on whether or not it would happen.
Yeah.
But it looks like Sharks are gonna get on the board.
They need to. And I question what... I got to go back and look at it. Obviously, we just saw NUTURN Hunter's Fury ult back and really take down a nice strat that Sharks put together. But what was stopping Sharks from doing this before? It's such an aggressive strat. It's nicely played. I think it has a great return because everybody is relatively safe throughout it. Because you're either going through blinds or perfect vision with the Sova Dart. So that one just felt like Sharks were all confident in who was watching what corners. The communication was there, and it shows immediately in a play when you see a team do that.
Yeah,
like,
the setup was just great, right? And it really came off the backs of the Paranoia to displace Allow, and then the fight for that area of the map from Denaru's Hunter's Fury. You're right. They saw something. And it really could have just been Allow, right? Because you think about how many times they've tried working their way through there and Allow is taking their faces off.
I mean, hey, it's up. Do we rush it? Yes. You're right.
All right, what do Sharks have here? What else can they dial up? You hear the running back has been used from Prozin. He's going to flash. He's going to get some space. But you've got to keep an eye on Solo. Is that Solo? Yeah, Solo's in a great spot again, right? Like, he's still undetected. A great crossfire. Like, he's one. Solo gets two. The spike goes down as well. As NUTURN look to continue to put Sharks down, but it drops into a 2v2. Make that a 2v1. Allow has a Phantom. Light looking to get the spike down. Allow quietly working his way around as the spike gets planted. Oh, he's not going to check it. He's not going to check the 50. A couple bullets to the back of the head. Pop, pop. Good night. Sharks get a second.
Sharks are starting to find the groove. The third would be huge. And you see, it's everybody here for Sharks just came online at the end, and it looks like it. The teamwork is there. And it may be late, but you always want to be able to see that from any team in a competition, that you're never down and out. You always have more left in the tank, and it looks like Sharks is giving that last hit right here for the first half. See if they can make it 3, Doug. They do have the weapons and all the util they would need. Let's see if we can get another combo util strat out of Sharks.
Just don't have any ultimates. Allow tanking. Oh no, move out of the way, my man. Trying to get me killed. Suggest with the flash, though, again, going aggressively through the middle of the map. It's like a cobra, right? They're just tightening them around them, trying to suffocate them out. You feel pressure coming in from so many different areas. They've got them on the run, and they're chasing them down.
Oh, my word. Look at Solo. He gets taken out by Lights right away as the Seekers try to pinch in where Sharks is. NUTURN want to make this round count, but Sharks are saying, no way. We've already thought of that. One goes down now from Allow, and it's going to be off the op.
Perry good for one as well. Lockie already good for 2. My goodness, a statement made. NUTURN. They just dominated that half from top to bottom, and I want to apologize. I realize it's a python, not a cobra, that does the suffocating thing. Cobras are a bit more direct with how they go about things, but either way,
okay, there you go.
The point's the same, right? Like, NUTURN, they dial up pressure at the exact right time. Sharks have no room to breathe here.
Honestly, I think everybody looked for the op going up, because I was like, it's going to be about Allow, and then Lockie and Perry did all the groundwork down right in front of A entry. I don't think that Sharks realized that was going to happen so quick with the double tap on both of them coming out. So it is only 2 rounds. Pistol round becomes even more pivotal now for Sharks here to keep themselves in that upper bracket, to keep themselves in this game against NUTURN.
Silver lining here for Sharks fans at home. If you're keeping up with stats, if you're a numbers guy like I am, they do have a better win rate defensively than they do on the attack. So there's a sliver in there, right? Like, there's a thread of hope that you could hang on, but you hear the ult orb has already been taken from NUTURN in B. They rotate back, considering potentially going over towards A. The middle of the map, they're totally blind to what's happening there.
I love the little combination they have with the turret on the side of Sharks, along with Prozin in mid. Nice little crossfire there that allows Fra to work in B. And then Fra stays there. He's got mid, he's got B, and you can get Denaru to rotate. I love the fluidity of the way Sharks is playing this first round. You always have to stay mobile, and we see now Denaru has leaned towards A.
Light with a great paranoia, but the flash is there to counter things out. Allow bouncing around the Gen. No, not able to land the shots. As Gabshe's is the one who cleans him up. Looking for a second, gets a third as well.
Spike down.
He's been a thorn in their flesh. A 4th kill. As Perry is left alone. He's got the spike and is hightailing it back to B.
He's out of there. A little Doorbala from Gabshe's there. He comes up. And Perry's going to have to run now. He's on the other side of the map. He will have a few star for himself, but that's about it. He's going to have to be praying to the stars for this one. 3v1, and he sets it out. Which one will it be?
The smoke to buy time. Hot hand's not going to land. Perry playing this pretty well. Good for 1. Not able to get the second. Gabshe's gets the ace. I believe that's the first one of the series, and well, they needed that one. They needed that one desperately. Riv as Sharks get to 3.
Yeah.
Ace.
That's a very, very big one. Now they have a few to keep in their pocket. Is this the time the NUTURN pulls out just all the Sheriffs again, though? Right off the bat. We'll see in just a second. Everybody picking up the pace here on both sides of the scoreboard. It's what you love to see. Vandals are here, no blast packs for Gabshis, so you will see a bit of lack on Util, but they should be good to buy up here and feel pretty good about what's coming next. But that was a Vandal, right? Did they go straight Vandal? Maybe we saw him running up there? We'll have to see as we get out of the replay here. But they may want to hold hard distant angles.
Yeah.
And there is a Vandal there for Gabshis.
Reaping the benefits of his ace in the previous round, looking to pile it on a bit more here. Doesn't tag anything. Doesn't land. And it doesn't really land any shots, gets pushed back. As NUTURN turn their attention to A. And man, they're going Riv.
Firing in. That dart didn't really see too much. Not damage onto Light either, but they know where he is. In the middle of the site, he's going to take that fight. And it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Gabshi's trying to hold things down from up top. Has the showstopper here. In a 4v3, they still have the numbers advantage. And the more utility you draw out, things like that, right? Like, that's a win if you're NUTURN, because you know B is entirely open. Lakia has gotten onto the back of spawn. So this ultimate from Gabshi's, excuse me, does nothing. Right? That's gone. There's no value there. Lakia understands where the pressure's coming in from. They should be able to get the spike down. The thing is, Lakia only has a Sheriff. That makes things very difficult.
Bot, but not enough time to put it down. He wants to try to catch a 1v1 situation before they peek. That's one. He looks for the second. The Naru with the 3K, and it's all starting to come together a little bit for Sharks. These first 2 rounds were necessary, but will they have the building blocks to start taking these gun rounds on the defensive side? That's their side to play on, to be strong on, and we'll see if they can put that defense up against NUTURN here.
And financially, Sharks, excuse me, predominantly Gabshis, but Sharks across the board are in a really good spot because, again, Gabshis had that Vandal. He didn't die, right? So he's sitting on a pretty penny.
That's huge.
He's going to be able, he's going to be able to bring an additional amount of firepower, allocate funds, you know, do whatever you have to in order to keep things spicy. But even that, you see for Sharks, it's only Leich who has a frenzy. Is a bit extra elsewhere. See Fra invested the most, while NUTURN, this is the NUTURN that we know. Light armor Sheriffs across the board.
Yep, there it is.
Let's see what they can do.
So just holding for now. They do decide to shoot it. Okay. Interesting, because you also, I guess it also gives the opponent something to think about. It's like always breaking Sage Wall when it goes down. It's, you know, you always have to have an eye on it now to make sure nobody is there. So that's one thing you can see Sharks don't grab onto, is using an Odin in that situation, knowing somebody could be there. That is something that NUTURN favors, is getting that little frag, 1, 2, 3, to make sure it's more util or position on the map.
You saw Denaru tried to get over to drop the shock dart off of the audio cue of the orb being picked up, but he just showed up late, so they were able to get away scot-free. And yeah, he got some info, tagged a couple of players with his drone, but that's all it was. The thing is, even with the Sheriffs here, Riv, this is a really hard site to get into, and Denaru's going to rotate his way back, but there is a good bit of Killjoy utility to work their way through. They know where Fra is. The Nanoswarm, that's key. If you can remove that from the fold, you've got a lot of room to work with. The lockdown's going to be used as well. Oh no, the flash. Brosen's not able to land anything, goes in for double. Got the ult, but that's all he got.
Still a great play, very heady there by Prozine to go in and take that down. He gets another one with the Spectre. He's holding just outside. Here comes the guiding light. Cavity's not going to be able to see too much off for that. He's Prozine. He's going wild right now. He lives in the light. And this is going to be Prozine once more, as Leich was actually on the other side of that going down. A 3K for him, a 3K for Denaru last round, the 4Ks, and the aces for Gabshi. Like, this is exactly what they need. They needed to turn it on. They needed to keep going hard. And that play, I think actually NUTURN gave themselves up a bit early, because if a star they placed towards the back of Denaru at the time of taking the site needed to be replaced. So it was called back, time was waited, they replaced it almost in the same spot. And by that time, Sharks was there. Great identification of what was going on in the round.
Good call. Good call indeed. Decent, good weapons across the board from both teams. You've got a couple of Spectres scattered in there. But for NUTURN, they've had some tough sledding on the attacking side, and, well, I mean, it's been primarily weapon advantage for Sharks.
Yeah.
But now we're on decently equal footing as they try to work the middle of the map. You see Prozen again in that same little crossfire with the Killjoy turret that you mentioned earlier. There it is. That's the cue. The curveball comes out, not able to land the kill. As Allow gets away.
Damage.
But that's the setup.
We'll see. So Cerise smoke over onto Cat, allowing a little movement here so Gabshis can get himself into position. NUTURN is really feeling out the map right now, trying to figure out who's where, allow a little bit of movement from Sharks. We actually saw this from Sharks on Haven on the first time. When Sharks was attacking, they would hit something, allow NUTURN to mill about the map. You knew NUTURN was never holding original angles by the time Sharks would be hitting with how much time they were wasting. And that's what kind of NUTURN's doing here. Wait it out. You see Sharks are committing to a site to say, hey, let's at least lean these ways. And then you have a definitive hit. You can power in numbers this site. It looks like they're going to use 3v2 over towards B as it pans out.
Oh, that's such a good hot handset. Delays really any entry. You saw that they had no way. Allow Lakia couldn't get through that, and then the curveball through the smoke lands another one as well as Prozen, then repositions himself onto the site. 12 seconds left. They have to get onto the site. They have to fight their way through this, and so far, so good. Lakia and Perry get a couple apiece. Perry should be able to get the spike down, and now the remaining members of Sharks have arrived. A great dart to expose where Perry is. Gravity well, he's just a sitting duck. Gabshis is as well. NUTURN take the round back.
And that's what we expected there. The round goes long, power in numbers, death ball through the situation. And whether or not you're guaranteed to have better numbers than the other team, you're guaranteed to basically only have the people and utility you're seeing immediately. So you can instantly take the fight and know and assess what's going on. There, NUTURN was able to pull the 3v2 as it was only 2 members of Sharks in B.
Very, very good setup. Now we find NUTURN back in a comfortable spot, right? And I say that they've had a comfortable lead for a little while, but Sharks have been able to slowly claw their way back into the things, and it's been primarily off the back of Gabshis and things like that. Dinar using the Hunter's Fury. Just narrowly.
Oh, that was real close. Where did they go? They're just hanging out for the time being. Okay, so drone sees him. That'll pause things for a little bit more. Oh no, Hunter's Fury. That'll activate things, knowing maybe where the other Sova would be with that drone coming out. And it's going to be a slight play towards A.
No, it's a fake.
Gabshis.
It's a fake. It's all a fake, right? They invested the Hunter's Fury. Yep. They invested the Seekers, but Solo was on the entire side, but Prozen was in a great spot, holding down the middle of the map, spots the lurk, and gets the spike. Prozen is sitting on gold. Right now, the problem is he is the most wanted man in the server. Right now, they know where he is, and he's getting pushed in from all directions. He does eventually drop. They should be able to pick up the spike, and it's going to be a foot race to get to B.
2v2 as we come in, pretty tattered and hurt. Lich is only 30 HP, so 155 stands for the side of Sharks. If you're added up, and a little bit healthier on the side of NUTURN. Utility is there in the Trailblazer, so they can get themselves in, but it's just one smoke and a shock bolt for the side of Sharks. Looks like they're going to try to work together here instead of the 1v1 smart play, as they'll able to find one person in the site, and this is going to be big. If Lakia comes back in time, there it is!
Lakia was key there, and you could see it. The writing was on the wall. If he stays alive, if they don't clear out showers, they're going to get blown to shreds. And you said it, Riv, like you spoke that thing into existence. As soon as the timing passed by, as soon as they knew where Suggest was and they focused in on him, Lakia shows up, hits him with the haymaker to get NUTURN to map point, to series point, and to threaten to push Sharks down to the loser's bracket.
Honestly, Sharks have shown quite a bit, and whoever's there, if they go down, it's not there yet. That's going to be very, very dangerous games to play against. Sharks will be very aggressive and fighting hard. 12-5 here. They're focused on this right now. These rounds could be the ones that matter for them. A quick last pack out. Gabshis saves all the rest of his util from going down there as Solo was just on his heels. We do have a Bulldog and a Stinger with a Spectre on the side of Sharks, so they're trying to pull out what they can. And Prozen wants to be aggressive with the ult. He doesn't find one there. Great job coming out of Fra.
And really great job coming out of NUTURN. You see there was no way that he walks out into the middle of the site without almost everyone on the team seeing him.
Yeah.
Right, Gabshees has already dropped. Excellent counter to the run it back, but Prozine's still in a good spot. Well, he was. He was until solo happened. That's another one that drops as NUTURN continue to creep closer and closer to finishing off Sharks, to finishing off this series. They're going to get on to B with relative ease. Fry's the last remaining member on the site. He's got to go big here. Well,
Now hits, Frago is
30
down.
seconds left.
Leitch doing what he can,
You should run.
and he
Leitch,
should run. But he wants to run at.
Planted.
He will deny that call. Ooh, there it is. Suggest and allow are the ones to see it happen. Another flawless for you, Doug. Brought to you by Prime Gaming, and that is the map win for NUTURN Gaming.
I mean, for it to end on a flawless round.
On a flawless.
Of all things, right? Just like poetry. You can't make that stuff up. And I think for NUTURN, the first